Yeah. Google Notebook, LM analysis of Isamantix, Shakespearean ticks. Hey, modern decay style syndrome, the neuroscience benefits for cognitive self-treatment. Follow Isamantix, protocols to Bardontix, Shakespearean chaos, Alan the Rochatic. Creativity, the provided ticks offer a detailed analysis of Bardontix, a complex, interdisciplinary, artistic, and philosophical project created by Sam C. Surrey under the persona Isamantix, the modern bard of chaos.
This work is categorized as a chaotic musical mutation, aggressively blending literary themes from Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe with a maximalist fusion of musical genres, including opera, rap, opera, neo-gospel, and EDM. The core philosophical focus is the duality of singularity and chaos theory, suggestion that innovation, emotional control, and cognitive benefits emerge from confronting disorder. A concept Surrey links to neuroendocrinology and the regulation of dopamine and serotonin. Furthermore, the sources include segments of a soliloquy and discussions of Surrey's background in neuroendocrinology research to support his belief that philosophical principles must be applied and tested rather than simply conceptualized to avoid contradiction of innovation discussions.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at something, well, really unique. It's profoundly ambitious. We've got sources detailing not really a piece of music itself, but more like a conceptual blueprint.
Right, like a scientific methodology almost.
Exactly. For an 18-minute avant-garde composition called Chaotic Music Mutation. Enter a character.
And that's the crucial thing, isn't it? We're not just analyzing, a finished song.
No.
We're dissecting the rules, the protocols, they call them. Rules used to engineer something that's designed to sound like total anarchy.
But it's repeatable anarchy.
Precisely. That's the paradox we need to unpack today. How can you apply really intentional systematic structure to get art that feels genuinely unpredictable?
Groundbreaking, even. It sounds like the ultimate control freak's guide to letting loose. So for you listening, we're diving into these really meticulous protocols. They govern this huge 18-minute musical one piece.
And the core paradox, like you said, is that the whole thing is defined by this chaotic music mutation idea, this genre fusion.
Yeah, total blend.
But it all leans on these very systematic, almost rigid, atmospheric protocols.
And why? Why the rigidity?
Well, that's the key. Those protocols are there to make sure the results are significant and, importantly, that they're replicable.
So other people can test this, like researchers.
Exactly. Researchers in, say, sonic architecture, maybe neuroaesthetics, it has to be testable.
Okay, so that really raises the stakes. It's not just some random artistic thing.
Not at all. It's framed as a structured, repeatable experiment. What really stands out is that creating chaos isn't actually the final goal here.
Right.
It's the means to an end, a very controlled means to a hopefully measurable end. The composer here is acting more like a researcher, and they have to use these atmospheric protocols to consistently get similar results, emotional results, cognitive ones, maybe structural patterns.
Because if it was just random noise every time,
then the protocol fails, scientifically speaking. It wouldn't be significant. The goal seems to be predictable structure controlling unpredictable texture. It's fascinating.
Okay, that really clarifies it. This isn't just about sound. It's about pushing boundaries, but in a controlled way. So let's get into that blueprint then. The protocols of systemic chaos.
Yeah, the foundation is definitely the author's own development of these things they call atmospheric protocols.
Okay.
And you should think of them less like, loose creative guidelines.
Or like specs. Engineering specs.
Exactly, like engineering specifications. They're rules designed to really rigorously define the acceptable range of genre and mood beforehand.
Wow.
They make the fusion possible, this deliberate collision of really different sonic elements. But crucially, they also make sure that this fusion consistently lands within a predetermined emotional or structural zone.
So it ends up sounding organic, like it just grew that way.
That's only because it's guided by this really clear, almost tyrannical structural logic hidden underneath it all.
That hidden architecture idea is interesting. Because if the results are significant, they have to be replicable. So how does the length, the 18 minutes, fit into this? Why 18? Why not, 3 minutes or an hour?
Well, 18 minutes seems very deliberate. It's a structural test of endurance.
From the musicians.
For them, yes, but also critically, for the listener's cognitive capacity, their attention span.
Ah, okay.
This longer duration lets them bring in repetition rhythmically, melodically, but not just simple loops.
Right.
It's repetition, but at different speeds across really different vocal ranges. And
Wait
that's
a minute and let me speak, please. Oh, wait a minute and let me speak, please. Satirical but handsome. Philosophical principles must be applied and tested rather than simply conceptualized to avoid contradiction of elevation discussion, but exclusively with position determined by the controller to determinism. Who, you know who I do, but it ain't me for sure, but y'all know who. Okay, fine, I'll answer it, but y'all know it too. Easy fate and destiny, duh. Yes, sir.
specifically to test the chaotic pattern itself. Does it hold up? Can it last?
Can it sustain itself and stay interesting over that long haul?
Exactly. Because 18 minutes challenges modern attention spans, right? So
Yeah.
it's an endurance trial to stop the chaos just becoming, well, boring, monotonous.
And the sources really stress that the stability, the baseline for this test, relies heavily on classical and operatic ideas. They talk about forcing the music and the singer through these tough shifts, like A major to F major, then later modulating to F minor. Why use that rigid classical framework to measure chaotic patterns? Isn't that contradictory?
Oh, it absolutely is contradictory.
And that's precisely the point. It's a stress test.
Yeah.
Classical and operatic structures, they represent stability, right? Purity, technical rigor. They're the known elements in the equation.
Right.
So by forcing these chaotic mutations onto singers who are performing within those strict operatic demands, holding notes across that big A to F major range, and then wrenching the modulation into F minor, they're basically testing the breaking point of the fusion. Can opera's technical purity actually survive having, say, Latin trap or experimental hip-hop beats shoved into it?
While staying coherent for 18 minutes straight.
Exactly. So the classical focus is like the high-stakes baseline. It's how they measure the degree of successful but still controlled mutation.
So the classical part is the scientific control group, in a way. You could definitely see it like that, yeah. It makes the outcome genuinely measurable.
Okay, that helps. Now, to really follow this mutation style, we need to get a handle on the very specialized and frankly kind of unsettling terms the composer uses. The theory behind it all. Let's start with Isamantix mutation.
Right. Isamantix mutation, it's not just a mood setting, it's framed as the conceptual agent of chaos.
A catalyst.
Yeah, the stylistic catalyst.
Yeah.
It brings in these dark, coquettish, that's a word they use a lot, and highly unpredictable elements. It's the transformative energy.
So it doesn't just mix styles, it
Right.
changes them.
It actively transmutes them
Yeah.
through deliberate, often really jarring experimentation. Think of Isamantix mutation as deliberately adding the dark side of a personality.
Okay.
It's this necessary disruptive force that makes sure the genre blending is a true, unpredictable mutation away from the original styles, not just some, pleasant mashup.
Like a mischievous little demon guiding the music.
Sort of, yeah, like a sonic equivalent of an unpredictable entity pulling the strings.
Okay. And if Isamantix is the chaotic agent, then Poantix.
Yeah.
That sounds like Edgar Allan Poe, right?
Yeah.
That must be the atmosphere it works in.
Absolutely spot on. Poantix is the stylistic descriptor that dictates the whole emotional and atmospheric palette.
So dark, moody.
Exactly. Poetic, dark, rich in imagery, drawing heavily from Poe's literary world to shape both the music and the lyrics. It's the philosophical frame ensuring this pervasive mood of, gothic, tragic darkness, maybe some philosophical depth, melancholy.
Right, yeah.
So if Isamantix is how the music mutates, Poantix is the mood of that mutation. Somber, haunting, psychologically intense.
Which leads us to the method itself, the framework that lets these two forces coexist without the whole 18 minutes just dissolving into noise. Bardontix deep flow fusion.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, wait a minute and let me speak, please. Oh, wait a minute and let me speak, please. Satirical but handsome. Philosophical principles must be applied and tested rather than simply conceptualized to avoid contradiction of elevation discussion, but exclusively with precision determined by the controller to determinism. Who, you know who I do, but it ain't me for sure, but y'all know who. Okay, fine, I'll answer it, but y'all know it too. Easy fate and destiny, duh. Yes, sir.
This is more the architectural term, how it's all put together. Bardontix deep flow fusion describes blending poetic narrative elements, the bard-like storytelling bit, with this profound, continuous musical flow. It's the mechanism that integrates the lyrics, the story, seamlessly with all that diverse, ongoing sonic experimentation.
And the deep flow part.
That suggests, an unbroken, coherent narrative thread running through it all, making sure the story stays cohesive and emotionally resonant, even while the genres are violently mutating all around it.
So it's basically the conductor making sure Poe's dark mood.
The Poeantics.
Right. Doesn't get totally steamrollered by the aggressive, chaotic agent.
The evil Nick.
While keeping the story going for the full 18 minutes.
Exactly. It maintains the narrative artistry that's required over that long duration.
Okay, so we have the chaotic agent, evil Nix, the mood, Poeantics, and the integration method, Bardontix. That gives us the theory. Now let's get into the actual ingredients. What sounds are being thrown into this musical blender?
Well, the vocal styles they require. It seems like they're chosen specifically for maximum friction, not just what sounds nice together.
Right. The intentional blending is meant to provoke contrast. Right.
Yeah.
Test the singer's limits.
Absolutely. It's described as an extreme exercise in vocal eclecticism.
It really is astonishing when you read the list. The sources say just the hooks and choruses need a male singer-songwriter voice that can instantly switch between rap, hip-hop, Latin trap, reggaeton, operatic, coquettish, slow, emotional, expressive, and rhythmic registers. I mean, how?
Well, that's the experimental Tushin, isn't it? That's what the protocols are designed to test.
Okay.
The goal is purposeful structural integration, testing the physical and emotional limits of expression. Reading into it, it sounds like the shifts often aren't clean breaks.
More like messy overlaps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a hip-hop cadence might suddenly get delivered with operatic projection. Or you might hear a Latin trap rhythm, but sung with a slow, melancholic, even coquettish tone.
Wow.
The protocol demands the singer embodies all these conflicting things at once. They're the primary stress point in the whole piece.
And holding all this complexity together is the centerpiece. This Sam persona. Hypnotic, sexy, satirical tones, spoken word mutation, seductively coquettish tones, evil Nix mutation. That's quite a description. This is the non-singing voice of the chaos.
Exactly. Sam is the guide, often satirical, usually in the spoken word parts. And that performance is key, hypnotic, seductive, satirical. It embodies the coquettish, unpredictable evil Nix thing, but without melody.
So it grounds the wild music in a narrative voice.
Yeah, and it can inject commentary, philosophy, or just sheer unsettling personality. It's the deliberate use of speech to interrupt the song, forcing you, the listener, to switch cognitive gears rapidly.
And if the hooks are demanding, the verses, bridges, outros, they're engineered for chaos, too, through layering.
Yes, demanding regal fierce, orchestral, and operatic styles layered together.
Bardontix from this ethereal floor, for within disorder lies potential at its core. An elevation that no fear can divide. Embrace the chaos, let wisdom be your guide. Neurochaotic, creative, vibrant, free, harmonized by neuroendocrine streams, entropy in darkened halls or beneath the ancient tree. Poetic streams shall illuminate hauntingly.
Orchestral clash, that's where the real structural friction seems to happen. The instrumentation choices are, well, bizarre.
Awesome.
The juxtaposition is clearly intentional shock value. The chord textures are described as experimental hip-hop layered with improvisational percussion,
Okay.
which is then immediately undercut by stately harpsichord accent.
Wait, harpsichord with experimental hip-hop.
Think about it. The super modern, often sample-based texture of experimental hip-hop, which thrives on digital repetition, suddenly colliding with the brittle, strictly rhythmic, historically loaded sound of a Baroque harpsichord. The friction is huge.
And the clash gets even bigger, more global.
Yeah.
You read about orchestral gospel textures clashing violently with Afro-rap, bachata rhythms, and free-form improv. What does that even sound like, that rhythmic tension?
That specific mix is a perfect example of the limits being tested. Okay, so orchestral gospel gives you this rich, big, emotional, harmonic sound, usually slower, right?
Yeah.
Uplifting.
Yeah.
Bachata, on the other hand, has that strict, syncopated, 4-beat Latin rhythm, polyrhythm.
Very different.
Totally. So by forcing the soaring gospel sound into bachata's rigid rhythmic pocket, the protocol tests how far you can stretch these different rhythmic structures before they just break audibly.
And then throw an Afro-rap on top.
Adds another layer of rhythmic complexity, different linguistic cadence. And the freeform improv part means no two performances of that section would resolve the tension exactly the same way.
It's like a musical tug-of-war.
where every element is fighting for rhythmic dominance.
Satirical but handsome. Philosophical principles must be applied and tested. Yes, sir, indeed.